Welcome back to the Physique Development Podcast. Today's episode is going to be one of our favorites that we do, and that is overrated versus underrated. I guess we could also say something is accurately rated, but I'm going to give a topic, and then we shall debate if we think it is overrated or underrated. Are you ready?
I'm planning to be unhinged and hot button topicked, whatever that means.
To warm us up, a lot of these are fitness, but I'm going to start with a few non-fitness ones to get our gears going.
All right.
Are you ready?
I am so ready.
All right, brunch.
Overrated.
Why?
Just eat breakfast or lunch, dude.
You don't like a good brunch?
What is your favorite brunch?
You know what my favorite brunch is?
No, that's why I
Con
asked.
huevos.
Oh, Conway. That's breakfast.
Or brunch. I guess brunch is a little overrated. Probably because I also don't drink a lot of alcohol, and I feel like brunch is a big alcohol thing.
Yeah, it's mimosas and getting tanked.
Yeah. So I did used to love a good brunch because they had really great brunch tacos at a place in Lexington, and we would always go for that. And then they would have bottomless mimosas, but that is no longer.
That sounds like an absolute ball.
Yeah. But I guess we haven't gone to brunch in a long time.
Couldn't remember the last time.
Except we did eat breakfast at like 1 p.m. the other day.
That's called lunch.
All right. Making your bed every morning.
So overrated.
So overrated.
Unbelievably
People are
overrated.
like, to be successful, you need to make your bed. Wrong.
I made $1 million when I started to make my bed. Shut the fuck up. Like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Gussie's getting excited.
Gus says, if you make the bed, I can't lay in it as comfortable.
Okay, so my actual take, well, that was my actual take. If you want to make your bed and it makes you feel better and you are consistently seeing it, I think that that's a big part too, is like you and I, our bedroom is literally there for us to sleep. I don't go back in there much at all throughout the day.
I don't like hang out in our bedroom at all.
But if you are to be in a space where you are working in your bedroom and it is something that you're constantly seeing, for sure, make your bed. It's going to make you feel better. It's going to make things feel more organized, all of that. And in terms of like room cleanliness, our room is tremendously clean.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't have 14 pillows on our bed and the bed.
Have to take them all off
Exactly.
and put them back on.
We've got what we use to sleep on that bed, and that's perfect.
Yeah, and like no one else sees it too. So then I'm not like, oh, this needs to be all made up. Because like the floor is always clean. Everything's always clean. The sheets and everything's clean. It's just like, I didn't make it. It's
Exactly.
Jay chill in there. And you could be like, well, if it's all so clean, then you could just pull the covers up and it's made. But no, I had a hard enough time getting out of bed. Do you think I'm making the bed after that?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, we've never made our bed.
All right, next one. And I have a feeling you're going to have an opinion on this. Airbnbs.
Right now, overrated.
Yeah.
They were so cool.
They were very underrated. Then they were accurately rated. And now overrated.
Overrated. It has become too business-ified. People are trying to make as much profit as possible from it, putting single-ply toilet paper.
The one-ply toilet paper and watered down soap. I can't do it.
And you just have nothing in the apartment or home any longer. Like there's nothing in the drawers. Like you used to go in and it really did feel like you were just staying at someone's home and you had all the general things that you would need throughout a 2 or 3 day stay, whether that be toiletries or that be things in the kitchen. They were just available. But now it is like it just feels very bare and empty in a lot of the Airbnbs that we have stayed in. And we have done varying price ranges and thinking that going higher, we're going to get back to that home feel. And I have gone pretty high on the nightly rate. That home feel is gone.
Yeah. Literally one of the nicest ones that we've been in truly did have things still watered down, still one-ply toilet paper. And I had the hardest time finding even a pan. Like if you have a kitchen, at least have a pan. And then almost none of them have any type of cooking spray or olive oil. So like you're always doing like, oh, even if I'm here for 2 days, if I want to make anything, I now have to buy a whole bottle of olive oil to be able to use anything. Or I might have to buy a pan if I wanted to actually use the kitchen in this house.
Yeah. So we've opted for hotels more often unless it's really over 2 or 3 nights, then you're kind of cornered into an Airbnb because being in a hotel for 3+ nights is so stuffy.
Especially if we have to work.
Yes.
That's the other thing of like being in a hotel if we're like on a vacation, very different than being in a hotel where we're both having to work and we both talk during our work and we're in one room.
Yeah.
All right, now I'll get into some more fitness stuff, starting off with some nutrition things, tracking macros.
Adequately rated or potentially underrated for the fact that people think that it's this very, very daunting task. If you look at it as an opportunity to learn about nutrition so that you're able to have a better understanding moving forward, rather than it being this thing that you have to eat less and you're always trying to lose weight and it's this terrible thing that takes up so much time out of your day, like just do what you think you're capable. Like if you only think that you want to track your breakfast and you have like the tangible things and it's not overwhelming for you to do, I think that's a good starting point. At some point, you're going to want to track more. And so wherever you feel comfortable to get started to just better understand nutrition, I think it's a fantastic tool. So adequately rated.
I would say adequately rated, leaning even towards, again, underrated, because I think so often people think because they've heard about macros so often that it should be overrated. But like the tool in and of itself of how much it can help you learn about food and understand food, I think the concept of what it can bring to you is underrated, but it's overrated how people use it sometimes of, like you said, only using it for dieting and using it for restriction when it literally was something that opened the whole freaking world wide open for me when I started tracking macros because I was so like hell-bent on calories and just I need to eat less calories. And once I understood more about macros, it again opened up the world of food for me and just the fact of like, it's not like foods are good and bad because something's higher calorie or lower calorie. And it was really able to teach me about food. Protein powder.
Grand scheme, overrated.
What other scheme though?
There are quality proteins out there that are going to be like grass-fed whey isolates that are going to have very limited artificial sweeteners and sit well with your stomach and just generally digest well. Those are going to be fantastic and they mix well and all those different things. Like there's a discrepancy in the quality of the product, just as we would see within any market that has been developed in the way that supplements has. And so if you're paying for what you get most of the time with protein, but there are certainly brands out there that are just charging for the brand name and not necessarily the quality of the product. So in that instance, you're not paying for what you get in that. And so you've got to be a very educated buyer when it comes to supplements specifically.
I would say protein like snacks are definitely overrated. Protein powder, I kind of get into the fact of like, is it overrated or accurately rated? Just because I think some people get into being like, well, I should eat whole foods, so like protein powder is bad for me, or I should try to like not eat protein powder. And it's like, it's the difference between you hitting your protein versus like you being able to not hit your protein, then like, yeah, have the protein powder. And I think that's where I kind of get in my head. But I agree with you. I think grand scheme, it is overrated, even if I use it every single day.
Yeah, I think that a quality protein powder is going to be helpful for everyone every single day just to get protein in. In a perfect world, you're able to have these very balanced whole food based meals. But in reality, where things happen, you run behind, throwing a couple scoops of protein into a shaker and being able to get 30, 40, 50 grams of protein is way better than not eating at all.
Meal timing.
Underrated, but not necessarily for the reason I think a lot of people would think. I find this to be underrated for the fact in which we can have a steadier flow of energy throughout the day. And we're not having big drop-offs in our energy because we've gone too long between meals, or we've pushed off meals because we've prioritized work or whatever the case was. And so I find meal timing to be really important for steady energy throughout the day, but then also having quality sleep in the evening. Because if we're not having a structure to when we're having meals, we could be eating too close to bed, and you could be someone like myself where if I eat too close to bed, I am just so hot at night that it is
Yeah, you are.
impossible. It is impossible for me to cool down. And so it's just constantly, I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up. I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up. And my body temperature is having a hard time regulating if I eat that close to bed. And so it is the number one sleep hack for me personally to have a meal 3 hours before I am planning to go to bed because of that singular factor. And so meal timing is really important to me.
I would say it's underrated altogether because especially looking at all of the intake forms I see from clients, having the conversations on onboarding calls I have, and just conversations out in the wild, IRL, it's something where, and again, it's not just like, oh, you need to eat at these exact times each day, or this is how things need to be perfect, but it really is being spread so you have the best energy and you can literally make it that you can be like you can have better days overall. Because for me, it's not just the temperature when it comes to sleep, but if I haven't had time to digest it and then I lay horizontal, my digestion's messed up, I'm waking up bloated, I'm not having good sleep. And so not only has my sleep been messed up, my digestion is messed up. That goes into like what the scale reads in the morning, that goes into my headspace, then I'm not feeling the best, and so on and so forth. And so I feel like it is so freaking underrated that people just try to have like these big gaps in between their meals, or they're like, oh, I only ate 2 times today. And it's like, that might work for someone, or that might be what's needed for someone's schedule. But more often than not, being able to have more regular meal timing is going to set you up for so much more success and being able to have better focus. While the amount of times I hear people talk about lack of focus, lack of energy, lack of motivation, like you might just need some freaking food in you. And that is going to make a world of difference of how you feel. Low reps is best.
High reps is best.
Fruit is so
It's
good.
terrible for
you. You should lift heavy.
High reps,
Carbs
low
are
weight.
needed.
Keto
Squats
for
are
life.
bad for your
Squats
knees.
are great
You
for your
should
knees.
squat ass to
Knees over
grass.
toes.
It's fine. It fits my
Macros
macros.
is for idiots.
When there are so many mixed messages going around, it's hard to know what you should even do or focus on. But that's exactly where physique development one-on-one coaching comes in. You might have heard of online coaching or even hired a coach before, but we believe in teaching you the why behind what we do while truly taking your life into consideration. We want to train, educate, and empower you to reach your goals and help you to stop spinning your wheels and just finally feel good. And hey, we're here to help you look good too. You need you. Your health is your wealth. So join Physique Development and let us be the last coach you ever need. Morning routines.
Overrated.
How so?
I think that having an extravagant morning routine is generally just slowing people down from getting into what they need to. And so I think that with morning routines, and especially what you see on social media of these very drawn out multiple hour morning routines, that is not real life for 90 plus, if not 95+% of people. And I think it makes the people who are not able to spend that duration of time feel like it's not even worth having some structure to their morning. Now, having structure to your morning and having a routine that you follow is going to be beneficial for you, because that is going to be a time where you're really just trying to generate momentum for your day. Like, that's how I look at my morning routine of what am I wanting to accomplish today? What is my intention for today? Do I feel that I'm moving in alignment to that? Or am I more scattered? Like, and kind of listening to where my head is at and responding with what those needs are. And so some days I may wake up and spend time journaling and getting some of the thoughts that are out of my head because there's just too much going on. I'm not able to focus. And then there's some days where I wake up very clear-minded and I'm able to just have a cup of water, have some coffee, and get right into what my focus for the day is. And so morning routines need to be flexible in structure, but need to be focused on where you're at and building momentum for the day.
I agree in the fact of it is definitely overrated and what like the trend of morning routines have become. But I think it is so important to have routine or structure to your day. So you're not waking up without having any plan and just kind of like living the day on defense of just, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just kind of like letting the day happen to me instead of having a plan to be able to execute in the day. And I think that's where people get into of even something like going on social media in the morning. I'm not going to act like I've never been on social media in the morning, but it's the aspect of I do notice a trend of when I start my day on social media, I end up spending more time on social media, my brain getting a little bit more like jumbled and having a different focus. Whereas, hey, if I can get up and I can do these 2 or 3 things, then that is going to set me up, like you said, of building that momentum for the day to set me up. So I would say the biggest thing is having like a structure to your morning or having a plan for your day instead of being so focused on, oh, I have this huge checklist of I need to journal, I need to do a cold plunge, I need to do red light therapy. And that might work for some people. But again, missing the like forest for the trees of getting so caught up and I need to do all these things without even reflecting on how is this impacting my day or how does this actually like improve my day overall. Which honestly brings us to another one of cold plunges.
Overrated. It is something that can be beneficial. We're continuing to see new research coming out and the window of time that it is not beneficial to have around resistance training and it having negative impacts on, or not necessarily, I don't know if it's negative impacts, but at least neutral impacts on hypertrophy. I think it may honestly be negative. I think that they can be beneficial for mental toughness, a little bit of perking you up because you just jumped in 30-degree water. I think that there are benefits there. Do I think that it has to be in your routine or you're really missing out by not having it? No, I do not think that you're significantly missing out. So it's kind of a point where I'm curious as the years continue, is this going to fall off kind of as like a fad? Or is it going to continue to have life with people's routine?
I definitely would say it's overrated for most people. And if you're not nailing down like sleeping well and eating well, then you don't need to spend like thousands of dollars on like this tub of misery. It's like, yeah, it can be beneficial, but is it needed overall? No, it's overrated.
Yeah.
What about the aspect of balance?
Adequately rated, I suppose. The reason I say I suppose is because balance is going to look different for everybody. So if you have someone who is striving to do something great in a particular sport or endeavor, building a business, their balance is going to look very skewed to the person who's trying to create a life of balance that is very they're doing a 9-to-5 job. They want to have more time with their kids. They want to have more time with their spouse. And that's the balance that they're creating for themselves in their chapter of life. Then they're going to look at the person who's doing the extreme thing and they believe they're in balance and thinking that that person is nutso and they have horrible balance and horrible work-life balance or however they want to look at it. But that person's moving in alignment with their goals. And so balance is going to look different for everyone depending on the stage of life that they're in and their desires. And I encourage people to seek balance for what they're being called to do. Because people could look at my schedule and be like, this guy is a psychopath. This guy needs to have more time doing X, Y, and Z, time with his friends, time down or whatever it can be. But I love my work. I am very passionate about where we're going and what we're doing, how we're helping people, and the bigger vision that I have for where we are headed. And so that is balance to me. And I'm trying to remember, my grandfather had told me something when I was much younger, is that you can be great with your work, you can be great with your spouse, you can be great with friends, but you can't have all three of them at the same time. And I think that there is a little bit of a caveat to that if you're going to be great with work and you're going to be great with your spouse, the friends that you're able to be great with is a very small group of people that you're able to maintain great relationships with if your two other priorities are the spouse and work.
I think the aspect of like balance is overrated, and balance is low key bullshit to me because it's not balance that I feel like everyone's looking for. It's harmony of, again, of how it fits into your life. So everything that you described, again, somebody can look at our life and say that's imbalanced, but it's harmony to what our overall goals are. So I think it really depends on what your goals are, where balance makes people think, again, 50-50. I'm seeing this scale and everything has to be balanced, and I'm balancing this time with my friends, my family, and being able to do work. But that doesn't feel real to me whatsoever. It's like it's not realistic throughout your entire life for everything to be balanced. And so there's always give and take with that. There's always going to be a different level to different things. And it's just about what feels the most aligned or harmonized within what your goals are, either in that instance or overall. Because like you said, with that example of you might have fewer friends, it's really the friends that I actually have right now, I either work with because they're in work, or they understand that their priorities are also work and their family. And so it's not this cattiness or this, you need to be spending as much time with me or I need to be your priority. It's like they have their priorities, and it's not that I'm not a priority to them whatsoever, but I am a lower priority. And the best advice I could give you is to not take things personal in that, of like, it doesn't mean that my friend doesn't care about me because they're not texting me every day. It can just mean that they're focused on their work, they're focused on their self, they're focused on their family. And it's like, why would I want something else when I also want to be focused on those things for myself?
Yeah, one of the more eye-opening things was when our friends, some of our closest friends, started to have kids and multiple kids, and because we just started to talk to them less, and I internalized it and took it personally, of the fact of like, now my friends don't fuck with me, and that is just not true. And I became very aware as we would go visit those friends and be like, oh my gosh, this is chaos. This is so much going on. I can't imagine even picking up my phone when I've got all this going on. And so, and I feel like in the age of being 25 to 35 years old, you're in that change for your friends where they're building families or they're having kids and just priorities are shifting. And it's very easy to take that personally. And I would just encourage you don't.
Yeah. Because also when we'd go and visit, we'd be like, oh, everything's just the same within our friendship. It's just that, again, they couldn't necessarily pick up and text and have all this extra time. And it's really freeing once you are able to let go of that and just be like, when we talk and we know it's going to be great. But outside of that, unless you tell me that we got a problem, I'm going to assume everything's all good.
Yeah.
What about getting 10K steps?
Overrated.
I agree. Overrated.
So I don't think that getting steps is overrated. I believe that having this hard and fast rule that you have to get 10K is overrated. And the reason I say that is because depending on where you're currently at, if you're someone who's getting 3,000 to 4,000 steps and you're like, well, for me to get in the best health or for me to lose body fat, I've got to get up to 10K steps. That is going to be quite the shock to your system. And if you have a dog that walks as fast as ours do, and you try to go from 4,000 to 5,000 steps a day to 10, and you take their ass with you, your body is going to say, hey, buddy, your hips, your knees, your ankles, not going to like it. I don't know if I'm talking from personal experience or not, but that would be my 2 cents on it, where if you feel like you have the time capacity to get 10K steps in, because you're looking at roughly 100 minutes of your day. So it's a little bit over an hour and a half of your day is going to be getting steps. Do you agree? I mean, you're trying to do the math in your head.
No,
Run
I
with
just was thinking.
Roughly, you're going to spend 10 minutes getting 1,000 steps.
Yes.
You agree with that point?
Yeah, that's what I always say.
So the math would be.
I know. I was just processing. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Now,
obviously not.
In a time when you're in college, getting that hour and 40 minutes of walk in is a lot easier when you're just walking around campus. It happens very organically. Or if you're a nurse who is running around the ER and all around the hospital, getting in steps is going to be easy on the 12-hour shift you've got. But for the individual who's going to be more sedentary and working at a desk all day and has to get time in their schedule to dedicate specifically to just the walking, it's a little bit more of a challenge.
Couldn't agree more.
Sweet. Are you sick and tired of your glutes not growing, turning around in the mirror and seeing a board for a booty? I've been coaching for nearly a decade, helping thousands of women reach their goals. The most common goal: grow my glutes. Women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s able to grow their glutes with the guidance of my training programs. And for all this time, I've kept my best glute growth secrets only for my one-on-one clients. And that changes today. We just released our 12-week glute growth program in the PD training app. It is a 4-day program with exercise and volume adjustments every 3 weeks. You can easily access the program through our app and track every single workout. Each exercise will have a detailed video teaching you exactly how to perform each and every movement. And guess what? I am no longer gatekeeping. I'm sharing every single one of my best glute growth secrets inside this program because you are awesome and I want you to have this program. I'm going to give you $25 off, making it a fraction of what you spent at Starbucks this past month. Use code POD. The link to purchase will be in the description. Now let's get back to the show.
All right. What about fitness trackers?
What is a fitness tracker?
Like an Aura Ring or a Whoop Band or something like that, or an Apple Watch.
So I'm going to say overrated for the fact of putting too much merit into what the results are rather than it just being data.
Okay. I was going to say underrated if it helps you move more, but overrated if it rules your life.
Right. Like, here's my thing. If you get a score on your Garmin watch that you got 5 hours of sleep and you're like, well, that means that I don't do anything today and I'm not going to work out and I just need to recover. It's like, maybe like that could possibly be needed for you, but let's be adults here and just go on with your day and figure out why you didn't get the best sleep and do better tonight, but still go on with what the things you have going this day. Now, if you have a repetitive nature of 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep, and you've now stacked 2 or 3 nights of this, it's probably time for us to pull back a little bit and really dig into why you had that situation occur. And maybe you need to skip the training session and do all that. But I don't like it in the lens of it being a crutch for what you have for that particular day. And I don't like it from the lens of if you're checking it first thing when you wake up, and then that is now putting you into a negative headspace for what you have on the horizon. Because I know that for myself, I can run into that and I have to catch it like in the moment and be like, no, this does not decide my day. Like I decide what my day is going to be like through my actions and how I carry myself, how I talk to myself, not what this watch tells me. Mm-hmm. And so that would be the reason that they would be overrated to me. But I agree in the lens of it would be underrated for giving you feedback that you need to get more steps. Like I've changed the face of my watch to show my current steps all the time, just so that I can have that feedback loop of, oh, I probably need to go get some steps. Like I'm not where I need to be at this time. Like I need to get moving.
Yeah. Well, I know for myself, I can get really caught up when it comes to, I'm a recovering perfectionist. And so like for the Apple Watch, it's like, oh, you closed your rings every day and being able to like be in that mindset where then I would have a rest day and I wouldn't close my rings and it would be kind of like nagging at me of like, I had this streak going of closing my rings and now I wasn't able to close my rings. And so I had to take a step back and really be like, again, what is my goal within wearing this? What am I trying to get out of this? Am I just trying to check a box and close rings, or am I trying to show up for myself in a certain way? And that might mean taking a rest day so all of my rings don't get closed, or purposely getting less steps because my body feels so freaking run down and it's not good for me to be like, no matter what, I need to get those steps in because my fitness tracker said so. Like, I think that's the big difference there of just being able to use it to collect data, but also be able to trust yourself to be able to have a conversation about like, what do I actually need out of this? And when can I listen to this versus like just doing whatever it says type of thing.
I did have a little bit of jealousy the other day. I saw someone post a reel that she posted like the screenshots of her rings being closed for 365 straight days. And I found that to be tremendously impressive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
It also could have been fake.
I'll get like updates and it'll be like 2 weeks in a row of you doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh, let me make it 3. But then like when I get to a day where it's like, I'm so overrun, so beat down, in the past, I would have just like pushed myself to be like, gotta keep up the streak. Whereas like now I'm like, okay, all right, like the streak's cool, but it's better to take care of myself.
Yeah.
All right, standing desks.
I think those are adequately rated. I love standing desk and I yearn for a new one because we had the opportunity to have someone design our main floor, which is including my office. And I should have spoken up when I had the opportunity, but I let the lady who designed it.
Well,
I liked it. I liked it.
You wanted a certain aesthetic and you had the standing desk and you're kind of like, okay, I'm ready to like graduate to something a little bit nicer looking.
Joke's on me, made the wrong choice. Joke's on me.
Well,
Was not ready to graduate.
Blame the lady.
I'm not blaming the lady. I'm setting the, I didn't choose the desk. She put it in front of me. I said, that one looks nice.
Okay.
Anyway, so my desk is fine. It was cool at the beginning.
I think that they're low-key overrated.
I'm exhausted by it and I want a standing desk back.
I would never
This
use
is coming
a
from the
standing
person.
desk.
This is coming from the person who stole my standing desk and
No.
uses it on a very regular basis.
No. Let me pause that for a second. Let me explain myself. First, there was no stealing that happened because 1A, what's yours is mine, baby. We freaking are in this together. That's 1A. 1B.
That's hilarious because I don't even get to use that desk anymore.
You literally gave it to me. Let me set the scene. No, shush.
Let me tell the truth because I was gone.
Oh my gosh.
I get back
Oh my
from
gosh.
wherever I was at.
You're such a dirty liar.
You literally somehow moved a desk that was a 2-person gig. And
well, I'm sorry I'm so strong.
Yeah, it's a compliment.
Let me actually go through this for realsies. So
I can't imagine anyone caring about this.
They do care. Alex had this nice standing desk that he really liked. He got a normal desk, put it in his office, decided to move his nice standing desk up actually to the podcast room. And we have had that as a desk in here. So technically he could take it back at any time.
No.
He got a second standing desk because he also got a walking pad for his office. And he was like, oh, I use this when I want to stand and I use that. Problem solved.
Perfect setup.
And then, perfect setup until he never used the other desk. And I would be like needing some steps at the end of the day. And I'd be like, oh, can I just go in here? Or can I be in here? And he's like, yeah, honestly, I'm wanting to rearrange my whole office. So why don't you just take it?
I hate this. I'm done with this story because I'm being exposed.
He's realizing that I'm telling the actual fact.
I shouldn't have opened the can.
And so then to take it off his hands, which he offered it to me, I was like, I don't want to make him move it up. So I moved it up myself. And I'm sorry that I'm so strong and was able to figure out all of the leverages to not scratch anything up. And ever since, he has been on my case of me, quote, stealing his desk and taking it from him. So I believe that standing desks are overrated when it comes to actually working on them. But when it comes to using them to read and get your steps in, then I think that they're accurately rated.
Congratulations. Next.
All right. Journaling.
I think this is underrated.
Pray tell.
I would have previously said this is overrated and stupid and a waste of time.
Tell me how you really feel.
But I have changed my opinion. So when do you think I would have started journaling?
Maybe like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. So I got into journaling
more regularly.
And when I first started journaling, it was very short. I was like trying to convince myself that I should do it. And I would get a little bit of feedback that it was helping me each time. Not a ton, but enough for me to open back up the journal and start writing more. To now being at a point where, and I don't journal for a set time every day.
Yeah.
It's much more reactive of, I feel like I need to journal on this, or I have something weighing on my mind and I need to get this out on paper and really work through it. And so I think that it is fantastic for people who overthink. I think it is fantastic for people who have a constant running mind that needs some organization to that thought, those thoughts that are coming across, which all those things describe me. So it is fantastic for me. And I also used to constantly say that I was not a good writer. And I didn't like how I wrote. And the reason I did not like how I wrote is because I would not write. And now that I have written pretty consistently over the last year and a half, I like my writing a lot more. It's a concept.
Crazy. I would agree with you. I don't really have anything new to add to that.
Nice.
That's the problem. We already know so much or talk so much that it's like we're just going to agree on a lot of these.
Not on those desks, though.
Nope, not on those desks. All right. How about eating the same foods every day?
Adequately rated. It has its pros and cons. I think that the con is going to be by eating the same thing every day, you're going to hinder the diversity of bacteria in your gut. And so it could be a problem for you digestively. I think that the big pro is that you have consistent meals that you're going to be intaking, that you have a set amount of calories and macronutrients that you're going to be having on a day-to-day basis. Now, if the question is framed as having 2 or 3 options for each meal that you're going to have, I think that it is underrated and a tremendous benefit to anyone who is busy.
I would say that it's underrated because personally has absolutely catapulted my life of not having to think about what I eat and just being able to also, what word was I going to use there? Life hack. You don't have to track your macros if you eat the same thing every day. Like you're tracking your macros, but you're not because like you're not having to plug everything in and play this game. So I will just end up tracking macros every few days because I'll eat the same foods for multiple days in a row. And then it's like, all right, this one day that I'm doing things a little bit different, then I'll track macros then. So I do agree, obviously, with the gut and the variety and all that jazz. So I don't just only eat the same meals all the time. Like I have variety in there, whether it's like going and having dinner at my mom's or us going out to eat. But in the general sense, it is so freaking helpful to just have that plan in place. And I feel like people try to have so much variety that then again, it hinders them because it feels so overwhelming to try and like nail down all that variety.
Well, and I think that's why I say having kind of options 2 to 3 for each meal is best. And if you want to be like super geeky like myself, you could get into like looking at the micronutrient profile of all the foods that you're choosing and make sure that everything kind of crosses the list. And then if you have gaps, filling that in with supplementation, and that should fill that void, if you will.
Awesome. Well, that wraps up. I have many other, but we'll have to do another episode for them. But that wraps up underrated versus overrated today.
If you guys enjoyed it, let us know because we can do a bunch of these.
Yeah. Make sure you share it with a friend, like, comment, subscribe, all of those fun things.
See you in the next episode.
Peace out. Bye.